We bought the Sandhurst, didn't we, just behind me, and we've had a few problems. We went camping the other weekend, and we kept on having the hazard warning lights going off, and it basically was not being switched off. Well, you switch off the hazard warning light on the dash over there. It's all ripped out at the moment, you can see, and it wasn't working. It would just carry on, and when we were driving, if we turned left, we were having the horn and the hazard warning lights all going off together. So I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that it's the body control module that most people are having issues with. That's this thing here, and that lives up here. However, before we even managed to do that, I realised that it had an alarm semi-disconnected. There was all this loom in there, so I've had to remove all that as well. And while I'm going in there, there's all this extra wiring. So we're gonna go through and tidy all that up. Obviously I've stripped it down halfway before I sort of started thinking about filming this, which is a silly thing to do. We're Mark and V, and this is our adventures. But there's a few things extra we're going to do while we're doing it. I've just put this one in, which is an auto lights control. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to take that one out, and I'll just show you how easy it is to do that. We're going to wire in USB sockets over there, and we're going to change the mirror, the reversing mirror, rear view camera mirror, whatever you want to call it, to a Wolfbox mirror, which will have a dash cam in it as well. So we're going to wire all that in as well and have it all mounted nicely. So there's quite a few things we're going to do, as well as fixing the well, I say fixing, there's a company I found where we're going to send this away, and they'll repair it for £250 with a lifetime guarantee. So we're going to do that. It's about, I think they're about £600 to buy new, so we'll see how we get on with them, and if it's really, really good, then I'll let you guys know, and if you have the same issue, it'd be somewhere you can go. Not affiliated with them at all. Anyway, so I'm just going to show you, you know, how everything is. I'm a little bit slow as well today, because as you may see, I stupidly managed to break my foot last week. So everything's a little tiny bit slower than it would be normally. Well, this video is sort of been a bit of a mix match really, because I started filming on my iPhone, then I decided I didn't really think I was going to make a video out of it. Then I realised it was an error that a lot of people seem to be having, so I decided I will make a video out of it. So the intro was filmed after the next bit you're going to see. The next bit was filmed on my iPhone, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to make a video, so the quality is quite poor, but I think it's relevant. So this is how it all started, with me ripping it out. And if I go into a little bit more detail with the van, we'd gone away camping, and we got up the next morning. We were sat outside talking to our friends. He said, "Oh, your hazard warning lights are on." I went, "Oh yeah, I must have knocked them. Don't know how I did that." Anyway, went and switched them off. Come back out, started yapping. He said, "They're still on." I went, "Oh yeah, they are." So I went out, and we thought, oh, obviously a hazard warning light switch. Maybe it's gone. Maybe the switch is faulty. So, like, you know what you do, you push it in and out a few times, and they went off. Brilliant. Anyway, it came back on, so it was getting a bit frustrating. We decided we're going to go off and get breakfast anyway. We're driving off to a cafe, and as we're driving off, I went to turn left, and as I started turning left, the horn went off, the hazards went off. And I think the wipers, I can't remember exactly, but I think the wipers went as well. I'm sure the wipers worked as well. So everything was going off, and it was really quite embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. But to get back to the video, the next bit you're going to see is when I was misled into believing it might be the Cobra alarm system. But it's a worthy thing to have a look at, because I've already spoken to someone since
I started doing this who had a Cobra alarm as well and had exactly the same issues, and it turned out to be the body control module as well. If somebody's put a Cobra alarm in your van, maybe you want to have a look and see how well it's done, because when you see some of the footage of how poorly the wiring was done, you probably want to sort it out anyway. I'm going to fit a different alarm system in the van, but I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to go for yet. And if any of you know a decent alarm system that you recommend, please tell me down in the comments. Anyway, we're going to go back into the video now, and this next bit will be on the iPhone at the very, very beginning. The footage is poor, I'm really sorry, but it sort of carries over the message.
Here we are, our first major problem with the auto sleeper. We've had an issue with the hazard warning lights coming on just randomly, and a lot of people online have been reporting that it's the body control module. However, I did speak to one chap who had a Cobra alarm installed, and he was having a similar problem. Now, there was a Cobra alarm installed originally in this van, and so what I'm doing now is I'm ripping all the old existing wiring out of it. Now I'm going to show you what I've done so far, and then I'll continue it a little bit later. It's really a difficult one to sort of show you much about what I'm doing, but I'm just going to show you what I am doing. I've taken all the panels off at the moment, all the trim, and that's the body control module there. Now this is the loom that went into the alarm. And what I'm doing is I'm chasing all the wires back. Now we've got this one here, this set of wires here, and they went up to the sensors up here. There's a sensor on either side. So I've removed the connection, so I've left that there for the minute. There was another wire that came from that connection there, that one there, and that went to a switch that was in the dash. Let me just come up there so you can see there was a switch in the dash there. So I've removed that. Now the next wire I'm chasing is this one here, and it goes right across the van. You can see it there, and hopefully you can just see it coming down there. I'm going to go around the other side a minute. So we're over the other side, and you can see it comes through, it goes down under the footstep. Now if you look in there, awkward angles, but there it goes. You can see it going up through there. Now I'm going to go back inside the van. So I'm back inside the van, and you can see that wire there. It carries on. I've identified there. Goes under the seat at the back. And then when we come to the back door, remember this is an auto sleeper, T5 auto sleeper. And there's a cable. It comes up, and it goes to these two here. Now, so I'm going to remove all that now, and we'll take all that wire back through, and then we'll carry on at the front, and I'll update you as I'm going. Okay, so we've taken that sensor off. You can see him there, and it goes back into the under the seat. Now as I follow through, there's another sensor there, you can just see it. So we're gonna probably, I think because that cable's all in there intact, now we know what it is, we're going to leave that. We're going to leave the wire at the far back of the door, so we can probably put some other sort of alarm in at some stage and alarm the two doors. So we know what it is, so we're not going to rip it completely out. We'll just hide the wiring away now. That one, once it's disconnected at the other end, we'll be fine. So we know it comes through there. Just tidy that up a little bit. I'm feeling quite happy that I know what it is, so we'll tidy that all up and leave it in place. Coincidentally, these two, where they were mounted here and here, just there. I don't know if you can see that, let's come around a bit. There and there. This sensor here was like around like that, so that might have been the old problem. Anyway, we're not going to leave the Cobra in because we know it's an issue, so we'll just tidy it all up now. Okay, while I'm stripping the wires back, I've just exposed, this is the main feed there. You can see how that wire's been connected in. It's sort of got a dab of solder on it, but it's very poorly done. So I'm hoping they haven't cut the wire. They've just literally exposed the wire and soldered it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some electrical tape and, well, I'm going to cut that one off first of all, and then carefully put some electrical tape around it, and hopefully that'll be okay. What I'll do first of all is I'm going to show you how to fit this one. So I'm going to take it out first of all, put the old one back in, and we'll go from there. So we've got lots of plastic all taken out at the moment. Don't worry about that. First thing you're going to do, you've got your on button. So you want to push it in on the off position, then turn it to the side light position and release. And you can slide it out. It's as easy as that. Then we're going to literally, 2 clips, one there, squeeze them together, and that one comes off. The new one, that's the new one, so you can see it. And I don't know if you can see, there's a little sensor there. So instead of some of them, you have to have a sensor up on your windscreen. This one actually got a sensor on the switch. So I think that's a newer version. So as the cab's getting dark, your lights come on rather than having it outside. So I think that could be a better version. Literally, line them up, and you can't get it wrong because there's only one way you can go. You've got 2 little legs down the bottom here. Hopefully you can see that. And they line up with the 2 little legs there. Click him into place, having him horizontal, push him in, and there he is. And he's locked in place. Battery's disconnected at the moment, so I can't prove that works. But there we are. That's how easy that is to put it in. What was that? That was 30 seconds, wasn't it? 40 seconds. Really easy. Anybody can do that. Right, now we're going to move over the other side and I'm going to show you what I've done, how I'm routing it, and what we're going to do next. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to install USB into the dash of this Sandhurst. It's a T5, it's T5, and it would be the same on a T5.1, I would hope. Quite a simple process again. We're going to, basically, this is the unit I bought. It says for use with a T5 on it as well. So it's obviously designed to go in the actual switch recess here, and as you can see, I've already got the wire which I've taken in through, and we've gone down the side here, down the side of the fuse box, and we've come down underneath, around, and then we'll use a piggyback fuse down here. We'll have a look at the fuses at a later stage and decide where we're going to piggyback from. You can see previously someone's already put something in here. We've got like a little alarm. I think that's reversing an alarm actually, and put that one in. So we're going to check what fuses are sensible to use, and we may even move that one as well. So you can see the wire comes down there, and we've also got a secondary wire in here that is coming down. This is going to power the USB mirror that will go up here. There is power to this one, but it's that mass of wires at the bottom there, and I'm not really confident with that, so I'm going to redo all that as well. That one literally just plugs in there, and then that would sit. Just feed the wires back in a bit, and that would sit in that recess, and that gives us USB power on the go in the dash. Obviously we will have something in the back at some stage, but this is for the moment, this is in the front. I think I'm also, although this is quite standard on the Sandhurst, I personally don't like it, so I think I'm probably going to remove all that, and we might go, I think you can get aluminium, so we'll do that. And we're going to upgrade the dash a little bit. We'll go for the newer controls there. We're going to change the steering wheel. We're going to go for a 3-spoke steering wheel. I think we'll have one off a Passat multifunction, And I believe this will come at a later stage. There'll be a few videos on this van. I believe this Kenwood stereo can be controlled from the multifunction steering wheel with an extra loom. So we'll find out about that, and if that's possible, we will do that. We will, however, probably try a few different head units in here as well, because Ianon have promised me that they're going to send me another head unit for this van. So we'll see. It hasn't turned up yet, so you know, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Right, so let's carry on with the wiring here now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start feeding this wiring. So it's got to go along under the dash, up a pillar, then across, and be available up there for when we start doing that. The cable has come from the other side. You can see it here. Now, I've actually pulled it too far, so I'm going to have to pull that back slightly. But we've come up over the steering column, and we're going to go up there, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on up through there. You can see I've taken the trim off. There's the trim, that just pops off. And I've noticed one of the clips is missing, and it's obviously been off before and it's not there, so I think I've got some in the garage. I always keep bits and pieces, and you can see everything is been removed, but it's not going on properly, and you've got to make sure these things actually sit properly when you put it all back. So we'll make sure that's all done properly. Anyway, the cable will come up. We'll take them up through that channel. You can see where all the cables are coming up, and then we'll take them across, and he'll end up over there. I think while we got it all open like this, we'll also feed for the new camera as well. We'll get the new camera cable all into that position as well, even if we've got to just sit it somewhere while we're waiting to do the rest. The cables now have been all neatly cable tied. Well, cable tied. I've used some cable tape, and we've followed the route up, and it's gone up over the steering column, and it feeds down through here. Now I've taken the two earths to this point here. That's the bar that runs behind the dash. That's mounted to the chassis, so that's going to be a good earth. I've used that position before on a Mark IV Golf, so I know that's going to be a good earth. So that's where that point is. Obviously we've got all this mess of cabling at the moment that's got to be tidied up. Then the USB for the rear camera then carries on up through in behind here, and as you can see, then follows up here, goes into the in behind the headlining, and then it appears here. Now I've bought a piece that will mount to the original mounting on the windscreen for the mirror, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to directly mount the Wolfbox like a mirror, so it won't have to have all this like clamping on an old mirror idea. I'm thinking it'll look far tidier and more factory, and at the end of the day we're all hoping to make it look as good as possible, aren't we? Right, I'm just going to show you this rear view mirror. I've just popped off there, you can see he's actually popped off, and you just push and twist 90 degrees anti-clockwise. It's quite tight, and there you are. That's how it removes, and hopefully the new piece I've bought for the new rear view camera will go right in its place. So we'll go and get that and try that next. So this is the Wolfbox rear view mirror. Obviously I've still got to get all the wires live and everything. We've got a few other bits and pieces in the wiring we're going to do yet. But there's a bracket, and it mounts to a faceplate, which mounts to the camera. So it saves having to have this sort of clamping idea. Like this one here, you see that you got this like clamping that clamps over your mirror, and I don't know, I don't think it looks very good. And the great thing about this one as well, it's also got that dash cam. Now I'm sure there's going to be newer versions of this now, because I bought this originally for the Crafter, and well, we now find ourselves with the auto sleeper. However, we do have the crafter still. We've got to let down the buyers on that, so not to worry. Yeah, let's see if it goes up and looks nice. There we are, and that's the mirror in place. Obviously the cable is going to be just tidied up a little tiny bit and make it look a little bit more neat and tidy. There's one more cable to come in which I've had to place on order because the video cable that goes to the rear camera just isn't quite long enough. So I'm going to leave everything open, and obviously we still got the BCM which has got to be sent away to be repaired. That'll be a few days, so we won't put everything back together. But this whole project will have the BCM all fixed and done, body control module. We'll have USB in the dash, the old alarm has been taken out, the old reversing camera, this one here, the old reversing camera, that is being removed. And I think, well, you tell me what you think, what looks better. That one there clamping onto your rear view mirror, or that one there, that's just one. I think that looks a lot better. We'll see how it performs. We'll do a separate video once it's all in on it, being, you know, the way it performs and everything, so we can have a separate video on that. And I'll show some of the installation, and obviously anybody who's interested, I'll put links down below where I got all the bits and pieces too, because it's been quite a trawl around the internet trying to find the pieces that work with it all. So I'll go back through my orders, and it goes back for a few months unfortunately, because like I said, I bought it for the crafter. But I'll try and find all the bits and pieces so you can actually replicate what I've done there for the mirror. So that will give us, as I was saying, the mirror, the USB, auto lights, and we'll have repaired the BCM as well. We'll also be putting a new rear view camera in as well. That's going to be chased. Luckily, there is cabling in already, and it follows this conduit all the way back through. So I'm really hoping that I can be clever and chase the cable, attach two cables together, and then just pull them back through, so I don't have to start ripping everything open. And that's good. That goes underneath the van, so it goes right back through. So that should be fairly easy. I've ordered 10 meters of cable. Unfortunately, they only do a 10 meters and a 6 meters, so I'm hoping 10 meters is going to be enough. And we'll find out. So that's where we are at the moment, and we'll come back as soon as we've got some more stuff to do. Right, we're a little bit further on with the install now. I'm trying to think exactly where we got to last time. But what I've just done is, and I'm going to take it apart to show you. You may remember I fitted a guarding Apple CarPlay wireless dongle in the Passat, and I also used it in the crafter as well. We just swapped it around, but you've seen the video, and I'll put a video up there if you want to see more information on it. But what I've done is it's actually mounted underneath the cuppy and plugged into the cambered head unit quite happily, and it's got a throughput as well, so it's coming through to this USB here, so the USB will go directly into the stereo as well. So I'm just going to open it all back up again now, just to show you how it's been done and how it's mounted, and it's really quite tidy. I mean, you look at that, I'm quite happy, you know, that really is nice. Nothing wrong with that at all, is there? So I'll just open it up again so you can see that before we carry on. So there you can see it underneath. I've literally just velcroed that to the bottom, and the two cables, take that out of the way, two cables literally run down there into the back of the head unit. So this quite tidily, just get them in the hose properly. Nice, neat and tidy. That's the first bit of the dash back together, and I'm really pleased with that. That's going to make everything a little bit better, having Apple CarPlay wireless in the van. And we've got this cambered unit. Now I've ordered a Passat steering wheel as well, which is a 3-spoke multifunction steering wheel. I'm not sure if you can use multifunction. I've read various stories at the moment, and it's going to be something that will happen at a later stage. But we will take that one off, put the new airbag on and connect it all up, and we will be going for Caravelle clocks as well at some stage as well. That'll be another project. I'm trying to find a set of clocks at the moment and reprogram them. I found the information to do it. It's all a bit sketchy, but I think I can put it all together and make it a more understandable process. So that'll be another project we're doing. But for the time being, we come back to the old mirror here now, and I'm just going to start trying to make some sense of this wire in here. So I'm going to disconnect the battery again and carry on. Well, the wiring's come out a lot easier than I thought it was going to be perfectly honest. There's a little bit of tidying up I've got to do here. You can see where they've cut into this connection here, which is going into the body control module. Now, was that some of the reason I was having a problem? Who knows? It's really difficult to work out. And I've got this one wire going up that way, which I can't quite work out what's for yet, so I'm not going to disconnect that. But everything else I'm going to trim back, tidy up. That one especially needs to be tidied up. You can see there's been some repairs here as well. That was a repair I did when I was removing the alarm. The next thing is, this is a cable, the video cable, that goes back to the rear camera. Now, it's a real unfortunate thing because you can see that's a 4-pin, but it's a large 4-pin, and the new cable I've got for the camera is, I'll bring that in as close as I dare. Hope that's focused. You can see that's a 4-pin as well, but it's a small 4-pin, and obviously the end that goes into the head, the dash cam, the camera, is a male connector. So that's 10 meters, believe it or not. I'm really hoping that's going to be enough, and I'm really hoping that I can just attach it and pull it back through, because we've got this going all the way back, and it finishes there. If you look at the back of the van there, you can see the Kutabali sign there. Well, that's a panel in behind, and when you take that off, you can get to the camera at the back. Now let's take you through. You can see up there, that's where the camera is, and that's where we're going to come through. And basically, it's going to come down, come back here. It comes down there, goes under there, and then it goes out of the van, just there, and then it goes right along underneath the van, and it comes across, and we've got the wardrobe about here, and it comes up through, and then it cuts across. So goes up and then cuts across. So I'm hoping we can chase the cable now, and that will, well, I won't be doing it today. I don't think I can do it while I'm in this boat. But we'll get everything. What we're going to do now is we've got the last cable up there and bring it all around, so everything is sat in this position, so at least we're in a better state to carry on with. I think while I'm doing this as well, I'm gonna put some tweeters in as well, because I've noticed there's no tweeters in this one, and you can get them. So I'm gonna order up a set of tweeters, and we'll put tweeters in as well, so improve the sound. And I think at a later stage we might upgrade the speakers and door. I think we're gonna have to soundproof them anyway, because you listen to the door. I think there's something in there, but I don't think there's a lot in there. It doesn't rattle as much as some do, but I think we'll check up on that. And I want to, at a later stage, soundproof the floor as well. I think a lot of vibration comes up through the floor, but we'll do that at a later stage. So for now, I'm just going to chase the cable in, bring it across, bring it down, and then we can tidy up everything that we got here, and at least that's one job done. By the way, that's the mirror I've removed. Now I don't want that anymore. So the first person who contacts me, in the UK unfortunately, because I can't afford to post it worldwide, first person in the UK that contacts me who wants it, it's yours. I'll send it to you. Just send me your details and I'll send it to you. Well, one thing I wanted to do before I started feeding cables all the way back through and everything is I wanted to check that the new cable I bought, this cable here, what actually works, because that's 10 meters. The original one was this one, that was 6 meters, and it wasn't going to be long enough. So what I've done is I've plugged in the camera to a power supply just temporarily. Now I'm going to connect the camera up and just make sure that the camera actually works on the new cable before we go and wire it all in and find out something's wrong. So I've plugged the camera in, you can see that, and there's the camera. And if we come up here, you can actually see the camera, and that's working perfectly fine. I'm really happy with that. So that tells me that I don't need to worry about any extra power. The power coming from the unit is going to be fine to power this. So there we are. I can talk to you now on the camera. So there we are. Everything's going to be fine. I'll just turn it around so you can see the comparison. And there you are. That's what it looks like on the camera. Right, now to start feeding all the wires. Okay, so I've trimmed up all the wires that were going off to various different parts of that alarm and the reversing camera. You can see there I've had to resolder some pieces and tidy them back up, clean up wires, and I'm hoping that it's all going to be good now. I've a little bit of cable management. I'm just going to put some, the cable protection around them just to make them neat and tidy. This one here, I'm not quite so sure what it is. I'm not going to disconnect it at the moment because I'm worried that if I disconnect it, it might do something else. Really not sure, but we'll look into that one. And if you know, please tell me. To look at it, it's 6 pins, 4 of which are connected. We've got blue, red, white, and black and red, black and yellow, black and red. So if you know what that one is, please tell me. And hopefully, the BCM has just been sent off Monday today, so I won't be interested to see how long it takes for it to come back. It's going to arrive there tomorrow, so they say 24-hour turnaround. So if they do it on Tuesday, let's say they do it on Wednesday, I would hope to have it back for Friday so we can get it all fitted back in, and then we'll be on the way back. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop the covers off of the tweeters before we finish here today, just to clarify there is no tweeters there. And if that's the case, I'm going to order up some tweeters and we'll put them in at the same time. So we've done quite a bit of an upgrade on the front, and we'll get new knobs for that one as well, but that can be done at a later stage as well. So we've done quite a bit, and hopefully it'll be good. We should have a steering wheel as well for the weekend, so it's a very good chance that we'll be putting a steering wheel in as well. Let's see how we get on. Right, so here we are. We're a few days on now. I think, well, we're almost a week since I last spoke to you. Been waiting for some bits and pieces to turn up. Now, decided to put a different steering wheel on the auto sleeper. T5 auto sleeper, whichever way you want to look at it, it's going to be the same thing. Also ordered some speakers from Vibe, who did me a very nice deal. And they've all arrived now, some bits and pieces, some more cabling for the rear camera. So over the next couple of days I'm going to be doing this. Obviously I'm still struggling with a broken foot, so I'm a little bit slower than I would normally. So this is a steering wheel. This has come off a B7 Passat. Now the airbag is obviously the most difficult piece. It's got multi-function on it as well, and everybody says you can't wire up the multi-function steering wheel to a T5 because of the CAN bus. So it's a bit of a bummer really. However, I'm not saying that we won't try at a later stage, because at the end of the day all we're doing is pulses when we do that. So it might be that somehow we can wire up to maybe the volume. I don't know. In my head it says we can do it, and if anybody's done it, please let me know. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires there. Up, down. Don't know. It's possible, I suppose. We'll revisit that at a later stage. But the most important thing at the moment is to make sure that airbag can connect to the T5. Now, from what I understand, is we remove this one and put the harness from the T5 onto this airbag, and it all connects up. So we'll see how we get on, and of course at a later stage we'll possibly revisit and see how we do the multi-function steering wheel. Anyway, not to worry about that at the moment. What we're going to do now is we're going to carry on out into the van, and we're going to remove the steering wheel. What I've had to do on the Sandhurst is I've had to disconnect the main battery, and I still have power, so I disconnected the leisure battery. For some reason, the way the motor sleeper have done it, you still get power to your ignition from your leisure battery. So I've disconnected the leisure battery, and I still have power. So I had to pull the fuse from the solar panels as well, even though it's a grey rainy day. So now everything is completely isolated, I hope. Now while we're struggling with the next bit, because it will be a struggle to remove the airbag, this is what I'm trying to actually access from behind. These position themselves on little clips, and I'll show you the clips at a little bit later stage. And we have to just pull them around. It's very simple, but believe me, it becomes very difficult. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is see if I can't pull the steering wheel back away as far as possible. So let's just have the camera looking that way. Hopefully you can see that. So that's as far as he'll come back, and we'll pull him right down. It's just to give us more access in behind. Now we've got so many different jobs going on at the moment, this is quite difficult to do. So the first thing to do is we need to turn the steering wheel like that so we can access the pins. I'll do, so turn the key in the on position so we can turn the steering wheel, and you can feel a hole there. Now I'm going to hold the camera round. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see this, so I'm going to try and point. So my finger's there, and that's where the hole is. We'll try and get a better shot of that somehow. I'm not sure how. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now with this hook tool is I'm going to try and hook it's really easy. See, it's not proven to be the easiest thing to do. Okay, so after struggling not being able to see what I was doing, I come up with an idea. I've got put my phone looking back so I can see the clip inside. Hopefully you can see that. And that's managed me to help me undo one side. Now I'm going to turn it round and I'll do the other side. So that one's out. That was quite a struggle. Now we can remember, and I'm going to, while you can see it's there, that you've got a little kink in one side of the clip. Now you want to be working on the side away from the kink, and you want to push it in towards the centre. So you're just pulling him in slightly and he pops out. Okay, hopefully that's going to help someone else. I've struggled quite a lot with that. It's an easy thing to do, but it's so difficult to do it, and I think putting your phone there so you can see what you're doing just makes everything so much easier, so you can see it all there. Now I'll just put the camera looking that way, and then you can see we can remove the airbag. And there you are, that's the airbag removed. Now when you're removing this clip, just put a screwdriver down and push him out, so you can push him like that. See if I can show you this. So get a screwdriver, you'll be looking at it from that direction, and just push the screwdriver down inside, and what you're doing is you're actually releasing it. I'm just going to try and move the camera around a bit. So when you're looking down through, you put the screwdriver down through there, so you're on top of the black tab there. Just lean him slightly and he will pull out then. Makes it a lot easier. So hopefully you can see that. You can see how the screwdriver just levers him down, and then the connector will pull out. Okay, so you can see I've taken the nut off, and hopefully you can see the marks there. There's a mark on the steering wheel and there's a mark on the top of the steering column. Let's get something I can point it out with so you can see it a bit closer. So hopefully you can just see that mark on the top of the steering column, and you can see the mark there on the steering wheel. Now that mark on the steering column, I would say, is probably 1 notch clockwise, isn't it? So the steering wheel needs to be 1 notch anti-clockwise when we put it back in, and that will save us having to retrack the wheels. And there we are, that's the new steering wheel in place. It fits perfectly, so there's no issues there. Obviously, like I said earlier, these won't work for the moment. We'll now do him up, and I'll find the torque setting to make sure he's torqued up nicely, and I'll put that in the information. And you will notice the notches as well are in exactly the same places as they were before. The next part of the steering wheel modification is we've got to move this wiring loom here from the T5 over to the Passat. And you can see that's a Passat connector, and that's the T5 connector, so they're different, and we have to transfer it across. Now the important thing is we're concerned about the horn, so we got that one there. Actually the blue one actually goes to the body on the, you can see it soldered. I don't know if you can just see it soldered in there. Maybe I can find a torch or something. No. So you can see it's soldered in there, and you can actually see it easier if you look at that one. You can see it's where it's soldered there. That's the blue one. Then we got the brown and the black and white. You got over there, you got the brown and black and white. So we're now about to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer them over. Now I'm going to make notes first and take a photograph just so I know exactly what I'm doing when I remove it, just in case I get disturbed. Okay, so now I've transferred the loom across. Now be very, very careful when you're putting that clip back in, because it's quite a tight fit, and I was worried I was going to bend the pins, but it's in. Also, the brown wire has a tag coming off it, and it just won't quite fit in there. So I had to cut the tag off, and you can see, if you look carefully, I've had to re-solder the wire. Just make sure you do it properly. And that all looks good now, doesn't it? So the next stage is I'm going to put it back into the van, and I'm not going to push it down so it's seated. I'm going to connect it, and then we're going to connect the battery back up, and then turn on the ignition and see what happens. Hopefully it will be good. We want to see if the horn's working as well. Okay, we've done the nut back up, and the torque setting was 50 Newton meters, which is roughly 36 foot-pound. But do check up on this as well. This is what I found out on the web, and that's what I've gone with. But I can't say it's definitely the right one, right size and right settings. Okay, so we're going to turn the ignition on now, and I'm going to stand back. Airbag warning light has gone off. Good sign. But we have no horn. So I've been thinking about the horn not working, and before I go any further, I thought to myself, I've still got the body control module out because it's being fixed, and does that have an effect? So I'm not going to change any of the wiring, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the airbag in to the van, and I'm not going to push it back in properly, and we'll wait till the body control module arrives back, and that'll be then we can try it there before we start changing things anymore. And talking of the body control module, I told you I sent it to a company called BCM Repairs. Well, I sent it on Monday. They received it on Wednesday. They got it on the bench. They've messaged me this morning, Friday, and they found the faulty component on the board, fixed it. It's all been packaged up, and they're sending it back. I would hope to receive it Monday. So that's pretty good service, and that's a company called BCM Repairs. I'll put a link down below, so if you've got an issue, you can go to them. They seem to do a lot of electrical parts, automotive electrical parts, like repair. Anything that's got electrical boards in it, they seem to repair them. So maybe a worthy company to sort of put in your notebook. So I've shown you removing the steering wheel, and it's quite difficult because I was showing you how to use my camera on my phone to sort of show you how to do it. Now, you can see it here. This is what we're actually trying to get to. And you're trying to get your tool in there, and that's what you're doing. You're literally doing that. And then the other side, so you're literally going it, pushing it in towards the centre of the steering wheel. And there it is. Okay, and that will remove the airbag. It is as simple as that, but when you're struggling and you can't see it from behind, it makes it a lot harder. So if I can come a lot closer, I'm going to put him back in, and you just go back in, and if I can get between the camera, so we're trying to push him towards the centre, you see there, and there at that point there he releases, and it's as easy as that. However, it's as easy as that, but it's very, very difficult, like I say, when you can't see it. Anyway, I'm going to go back on now. The next thing is, because we've got so many bits and pieces going on at the moment, haven't we? The next thing is, I told you I bought some speakers. I bought a speaker upgrade from Vibe. Well, here's the box. So let's take the box out somewhere and have a look at it. Right, so this is the box from Vibe. I've not opened it up yet. Well, I said I've not opened it up. I've opened the box, but I've not taken it out. So let's have a look and see what we got here. Got the speaker mounts for the doors, adjustable speaker baffles. That's the speaker baffles for the doors. A little tiny bit of soundproofing. We've got plenty more on a reel, so we won't worry too much there. Got some instructions. Got some instructions there. Some connectors, some wiring, some crimpers, tweeter pods, the little plastic mounts for them to go into the actual dash, and the speakers. And then there we have the Vibe OptiSound 6C speaker and tweeter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install the tweeters today, but we won't be doing the door speakers probably until tomorrow or the day after. There's lots of little bits and pieces, as you're aware, going on all at the same time, and I'm trying to sort of make it in a logical way, so I'm not backtracking on myself every time I do something. Probably will end up doing it, but let's get on with it, and we'll put the tweeters in now. Now put the first tweeter in. You can see it's mounted there on its little plate. It comes down through, cabling goes down under and ends up here. Same over there. Now if I come around to the front of the window, you can definitely see it far better there. And you can see it's held in by a clip at that corner and 2 screws at the back. Now I always keep hold of any old screws and bits and pieces when I dismantle cars and vans and that. And that was actually VW screws that I had from another car. It was from a Mark IV Golf, but I got a box of them and they fit lovely. They're little self-tappers. So I've got a couple of them on either side. So that makes it even better. It fits nicely. I'll show you one of those screws when we go back in, just in case you're looking for the same type of screw. And there you are. Hopefully you can see that in my hand. It is literally just a self-tapper. But like I say, I had some in the van, and to actually do these screws up, I've had to use one of these type of screwdrivers, these little short angled ones. It's quite tight to get in there. So that's one side, and we'll carry on over the other side. And incidentally, while I'm talking about bits and pieces, yesterday I didn't bother filming it, but I got under the van, and you can see back there, I've run the new cable back through for the dash cam. Now for some reason, the camera works up to the extension piece and then it doesn't work, so I'm hoping it's a duff cable. Sadly though, that means all the cable's got to be taken back out, right back down to where the extension is. It's just under the back. So that's going to be a bit of a annoying pain really, but it may be that power just won't transmit that far down from the head unit. Or I said head unit, from the camera unit. So if that's the case, we'll have to think of a way of supplying power as well. That won't be a big issue, but it's just a problem. Well, it's a pain, it's not a problem. So we'll come up with a solution for that at some stage. As you can see, the van at the moment is looking quite a mess, but this will all start coming together once we start. We've got the BCM to go in. I'm trying to think what order are we going to do now. Well, obviously we're going to do the tweeters and the door speaker updates today. Door speaker upgrades today. We will then, once that's all done, we can get the speaker grills back put in. We can put the trim back in here. And then we're waiting for the lower parts to be done once the body control module turns up. We still got the fuses to decide what fuses we're going to use. Now I've printed off a list of all the fuses, and we're going to decide what fuses to use on that. Obviously we've got 3 to use, but it's starting to look good. It's starting to come together. It's chaos before the end, but absolutely everything is going to plan. It's taken a lot. It's been a lot slower because obviously I broke my foot during doing this, didn't I? So it's not been the best of times to do things, but we're nearly there. I reckon a good day's work and we're probably back, but obviously things don't turn up on time, so we'll do a bit now, a bit later, and we'll just carry on. And we're camping in 2 weeks' time, so that's my deadline. I've got this weekend coming up where nothing's happening, and then we're camping the weekend after that. So I've got a deadline to meet, and hopefully we're going to have an upgraded stereo, we're going to have USB in a dash, we're going to have the dash camera, the rear view mirror camera working. I don't know if that will be done, but I'm going to try. I'm going to have a big push and try and get that done and find out why it's not working. I think I really struggled to get underneath the van at the back because it's very, very tight. It's quite low, with various bits and pieces, tanks and that hanging down. So I think I'm going to wait till I can start the van up and I can actually put it on ramps so I can just get underneath a little tiny bit easier. Anyway, I'm going to continue now. I'm going to do the other tweeter over there. You can see over there there's a tweeter to do. We'll get that done. Then we'll work out how the wiring's got to go into the head unit. And once we've done that, we'll put it all back together. And there we are. That's the other tweeter reinstalled. So I'm just going to put the cover back in, and you can see you've got 3 lugs. And they just fit in the recesses there. You can see 3 recesses there. And you've got 2 pegs that go in there and there. So it all lines up quite nicely. So there we are. Put the back in, or the front, and then it just pops down. And there we are. That's that installed. So we have the tweeters in place. All we need to do now is wire them back into the head unit. Right, now we're going to just put this cover back in before we put the actual trim in at the bottom, and it's just going to line up to all the little sockets, and you've got to be a bit brutal. And there he is, he's in. Oh, that was a struggle. And then, as I showed you before, literally line up the 3. Locators at the front, the 2 pins on the side, and then just push down at the back. And there he is, that's all in as well. So, have a little closer look at that now. And there, obviously we've got the GPS there for that camera, but all the cabling's all in nice and neat and tidy. And that's in. That was quite a struggle. When we come back to the head unit here, we've wired the tweeters in, and obviously you've got to be very, very careful with tweeters. But you can see on the white and the grey are the left and right, and the solid white and the solid grey are the positive. The grey and black and the white and black are the negatives. So as long as you're aware of that, that's quite simple. Now they supply 2 of these lovely T connectors when I needed 4. So I've had to use Scotch locks on the other 2, which is a shame because they're really nice. They're lovely, I like them. I don't know what they're called. If anybody does know what they're called, please tell me down below, and I think I'm going to get some for my toolkit because they are lovely. So much nicer with Scotch locks. Anyway, so that's that. The next stage is to upgrade the door speakers, but I think we might connect the battery next, just so you can hear what the sound is like. So this is the sound. I've put the tweeters in at the moment, but the door speakers are the same. We're using a track called High Tech by Rocket Jr. off Epidemic Sound. Okay, so we're now going to remove the door to the door panel to actually install the new speakers. So the first thing we're going to do is remove that trim, and then there's 6 T25 torque screws to be undone. So let's get on with it. Right, you just see me putting, I'm not putting very much soundproofing in, sound deadening in, because you don't need a lot. We proved that when we did the crafter previously. So I'm just putting some scraps in. I will put a little tiny bit more in there, but hopefully you can hear the difference. Listen. Now we'll come over the other side. That has not been done yet. And listen to this. So hopefully you can hear there's quite a difference there. Now I'm not going to do absolutely loads, but I'm going to do, you know, it's weight as well. Remember that when you're doing these things, it's all adding weight to the van. But I want the doors to be fairly. There's quite a lot of noise that comes up from the cab in this van. So at some stage I will be doing the floor as well. But for the minute we'll do the doors, and hopefully that's going to make a difference. And we'll just finish a little bit more off, get the speakers in, and then we'll move on to the next door. Okay, so we're now fixing the new bracket to the door, and just so it helps you, that 5mm pot rivets. I thought I was going to be able to get away with 4mm, but unfortunately it didn't work. So we're just going to put some 5mm in. Obviously you don't want to see me do it all, but literally, we've all pot riveted before, and if you haven't, literally, just do it nice and controlled. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 each side. There we are, that's the bracket in. Okay, so the next step is to put this diffuser against the door, stick that to the door, that's self-adhesive. So we're going to do that. Then it's fit this rubber grommet, and it's fit the speaker. So let's get on with it. So the wiring has to go back in to come through the back of the speaker. So I'm going to put a hole through the bottom of this grommet here. Then I can feed the wires back through there. I'll probably just tie wrap them somehow, just to save it rattling around. So there you are, that's the door all back together. Still loads to do yet, isn't it? The mess is unbelievable, but we will get there. And guess what's turned up? Look at that! We have the body control module. So we'll get the other door done and then we'll hopefully get that installed as well. So things are really moving on today. Well, the second speaker's all in place. That's what it looks like behind the door. We've got a little bit of soundproofing again on there, and there's a little bit in behind as well, which I haven't shown you. Now, when you take a door off, sometimes this happens. You can see the connectors, well, the door holders have come off. So, and it's a pain. It really is difficult to get off. So, you want one of these tools. It's called a trim tool. And I'll put a link down below if you ain't got one. Now, the next thing you need to do is put something there to protect the door. So we're going to put the camera over there, and now we're going to just use something to protect the door a bit. Slide him in, and hopefully, there he is, he pulls out. They're really, really tight on this one. That's the tightest I've noticed for a long time. And now we got a few more over there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that very easily, but we'll put the camera like that, and hopefully you can see how I'm doing it. So, put the trim tool in. Quite tight, some of them. There he is. And then just, there he is, he pops out. They're tight, and you can understand why the door didn't come away with them. I think we'll put a little tiny bit of Vaseline on these before we put them back in, just so they slide in a little tiny bit easier. It's just normal Vaseline. So we tried the speakers out originally with just the tweeters connected. Now both speakers are fully installed, and this is the sound. I'm going to go back to the original sound as well while I'm playing this so you can hear the difference. Now there's no subwoofer or anything in this van. It is literally 2 door speakers and 2 tweeters, and that's Vibe equipment, and you can get them on eBay. That's where I bought them. I bought them on eBay. That's amazing, isn't it? I think it sounds brilliant. I'm going to try and find a different track. Just bear with me. It's going to have to be on Epidemic Sound again, but I'll find something else to just give it a sort of different flavour. Well, there you go. What do you think? I think that sounds absolutely brilliant. I mean, the sound comparison to what it was a little earlier on, the sound was terrible. I'm really happy with that. And that's playing on my phone, using Epidemic Sound, obviously, using wireless Apple CarPlay that I put in as well. Really, really pleased. And that's a Kenwood unit, Kenwood head unit. So that's the head unit there. No amplifiers involved. That's just head unit and speakers. I'm happy. Well, the reason this all started, everything, was because of that, the body control module. Now that is back in, and hopefully everything is going to be good now. We have to wait a little while and just find out if everything is, sorted out. It sometimes happened in the mornings when the hazard warning lights started flashing. So until tomorrow morning, I think we could sort of say we're still undecided whether it's working or not. However, body control modules in. Steering wheel's all fitted. First of all, airbag light goes out and the horn works. So that wiring on the Passat steering wheel was really, really easy, wasn't it? Obviously this is not going to work, but everything there is looking really good. So I think we're sort of at a point now where I'm going to leave it overnight. I'll probably connect the leisure batteries back up again, because I've had them disconnected as well, and the solar panel, so I'm going to connect all that up. But I think we're at the point now where we're going to have to leave it overnight for a day and just see how we go. And it's looking pretty good. So we can put all the trim back on, and from there, we're looking good. The only thing that's not working at the moment is a reversing camera, and I think that could be an issue with the extension lead I bought. But we're going to wait until we can put it on ramps when everything else is put together, just to make it a little bit easier so I can go underneath and do it. But everything is looking really good. Happy, very happy. Well, here we are 3 days later, and the body control module now is definitely working. The repair seems to be good. We've had no issues with the hazard warning lights at all, so I'm happy with that. So we're going to start putting the van back together. And I spoke to you about the door panel, didn't I? We were putting the clips on, and all the clips were broken and busted. And I thought I'd order some more up. And funnily enough, the stupidest things you find out, they're modified, and hopefully you can see that. The one I'm holding in my fingers is a new one, obviously. But you can see it's a slightly different design, and apparently they're a better design. So if you're having any issues, they were £6, I think, off eBay, so they weren't very expensive. So hopefully that's going to fix that problem. We'll put the door panel back on now. And we were having a little bit of a problem with this going loose, the lever going loose, and as the cable in behind hadn't sat properly. So when you're putting it back together, just make sure you've put the cable back. If I can just show you there, there's a little plastic clip there, and that just needs to be sat properly. So when you put it all in, make sure that is sat down as well. So we're going to get that done, put that back together, and then we'll carry on and put all the plastics back. I'm going to give the plastics all a clean as well as we're going through. Right, it's never without problems, is it? The door clips I said turned up, and they were like different. They don't fit. If I can just bring the camera down here and show you. Hopefully you can see this. Go down. They just go that. Don't even hold on to the door. So I've just contacted the seller, and well, we're back to square one there. I'm still going to get the rest of the van back together. The very worst, I'll have to screw it into the door, and we won't have any clips for the next trip out until we get some clips, but we'll get over that. That's not a biggie. Right, I'm putting the plastics back together, and I got a little bit confused, and I've worked it out now, and I thought, do you know what? I wonder how many other people do this. So I'm just going to tell you the order it all goes back. So first of all, you put the piece under there. There's 3 screws. Then you put the cover on on the far end because there's a screw on the end coming in. After you've done that, you come over this side and you fit this piece. Once you've fitted that, this piece would go in, then the center console piece would go in, and then that will go in, and at the very end we'll put that piece in there. It's quite simple really if you remember what you're doing, but because I did it over a week ago, I really had to sit here and think about it. But it's all going together now, so hopefully not very much longer and we'll be back nice and tidy. Well, we've put everything back together now, and the last thing that is needed to be done is to put the wiring in on the fuses for the USB in the dash and the reversing light. Dash is it that there's a dash cam reversing light. So what I've done is I've had a look through all the fuses. There's all the fuses, and I've gone through the fuses, and these are the options I think we have. We've got SB12, which is a cigarette lighter, SC4, which is a 12-volt socket, SC14, which was for a mobile telephone, SC25, which was the heated driver's seat, SC26, which is a tachograph, SC31 for the sunroof, SC32 for headlight washer, SC33 for tachograph, and SC36 for a 12-volt socket. Now all of them look feasible. Now the next thing to do is find out whether they've been wired in and whether they're hot constant power or if they're switchable power. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, so I'm just going to have a look around and see how we get on, and we'll come back. So I've decided on, from the ones I've got plumbed in, we've gone for this one here, SC5, which is refrigerator box. Obviously we've not got a refrigerator box on the van, but the cable, the fuse, sorry, was actually plumbed in. So we've gone for that one. And I've got the two cables coming in there, so that's the USB and the dash cam. The theory is I know what's going to go on. Now this was done previously and I've checked up, and that's going into an accessory port, so I'm happy to leave that as that is. So what we'll do is we'll come around the other side, switch on the ignition. So turn on the ignition, you can see it's off, turn the ignition on, and then you can see the Wolfbox lights up. And if we look down here, you can see light on the USB as well. So I'm just going to turn the ignition off, so hopefully if I come in a bit closer you'll see the light go off on the USB, and there it is. So that is pretty much everything done now, apart from we have a small issue with the rear camera. I added an extension in, and the extension doesn't seem to be working properly, so I'm going to have a look underneath the van and just check everything's all connected properly. Now what have we done? Got the steering wheel, got the Wolfbox dash cam, the body control module's working, got USB, got auto lights, and we got Android and Apple CarPlay wireless now, because we put the Garland kit in, and I'll put a link up above to the Garland kit, so if you want to see a bit more of a review on that. The last thing I've got to do now is all these cables. I'm going to look at tidying them up now. Probably going to have to get to it through there and just pull the cables in so they're nice, neat and tidy. And like I said previously in the video, if anybody wants the old screen I took off there, first person to contact me, in the UK that is, because I don't think I can afford to send it around the world, but the first person to contact me in the UK, I will send it to you free of charge. Little gift. I don't know if you can make any use of it. Hopefully in the near future we'll have some giveaways properly. but for the moment this is what it's going to be. Well then, I guess this is where I bring this video to an end. We've done loads and loads in the Auto Sleeper in the last week. All started off from an issue with the body control module, and with the hazard warning lights going off randomly, and then the horn working when we're indicating. So quite a major worry initially, because we've only had the van a few weeks. Well, this video has been quite a long time in the making. Quite a few bits and pieces have had to be done. However, we'll turn around. We have now completed all the bits and pieces, even got the rear camera working. So I'm just going to take you in and show you everything we've done. Like I say, it's been quite a long task of getting bits and pieces done, but we have USB in the dash. We have the USB going to the head unit now working. Under this cuppy, and I did say earlier on in the video that the people who made that spoke to me at Busfest and they were going to offer one for a competition. However, I've contacted them. They've seen the message on Instagram. However, they failed to come back to me at this point. So I think probably it's not going to happen. So I'm really sorry about that. Maybe we'll encourage someone else to do a competition at some stage. Then we move on to the rear camera. Now, we had an issue, didn't we? If you remember, we couldn't see the rear view. Now, you can see I've got the front view and the rear view there now. Just coming a bit closer so you can see that. Hopefully it's not reflecting too badly. Now, what it actually was is we had a 10-meter cable, and that wasn't long enough. And it turned out that when I added an extra 6-meter cable, we didn't get any signal. Or I noticed we were seeing little flicks of signal, but nothing entirely. So I measured out how much I could get away with, and it worked out I could add another 2.5 meters to the 10-meter cable, and that would be long enough. And I managed to find a cable that was 2.5 meters, and I'm going to put all the details of the cables and everything down below it in the post. There's going to be quite a few bits and pieces. Hopefully I'll remember to put it all there. And 2.5 meters worked, and what it was is me and a friend worked out that it was voltage drop, and it just this cable could not take the power that far to power the camera. But now you can see that's working. So we've got that working. Come down here, you'll see we've got the auto lights. That's working lovely. We've been out in the evening and it's worked perfectly. So I am really quite happy. Obviously you've seen the speakers as well. They worked absolutely brilliantly. And so for the moment, in here, everything is done as much as we're going to do. Now, there are a few things I'm thinking about carrying on with in here. Now, I'm really not sure about the trim, and I think we will remove that. I'm also looking to try and get hold of a set of what they call full phase caravel clocks and wire them in. I think it's just something I want to do to give you a little bit more information on the dash. And I think it'd be a nice little project to do a video of as well. But I'm struggling to find a set of clocks at the moment, because obviously they've got to be for an automatic and they've got to be diesel. And there don't seem to be any out there at the moment. If you know of some, please let me know. Cheap, please, as well. I forgot to say as well, we also put the steering wheel on, don't we? And that is a pleasure to drive with that steering wheel. It really is nice. Shame these don't work, but it's one of these things. So that is everything done, and I am really quite pleased with how far we've got. So next we're going to be looking at doing the front end. Now we went on to a few forums and we were talking about lifting it to a 5.1 look front end, and quite a few people said, you know, why are you lifting it to a front end? Resist the lift is what they were saying. And I've thought about it long and hard, and I think I'm going to agree with them. And the reason I'm going to agree with them is because I want to put. I've seen one with a Sportline front end on. It's not very much different, but it's just a subtle bit different. and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Sportline front bumper, Caravelle bumper and Sportline splitter, I think it actually is. And I'm also going to go for Caravelle lights, which are slightly different again. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be in a future project. So, you know, keep your eye open for that one. And if you want to see what I'm doing, maybe subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified, if you hit the notification bell, that is, when I'm actually going to do it. Anyway, for now, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Thanks for watching. It's been a bit of a mix-mash video, really. There's lots of information in here. And if you've got this far and watched all of it, I really thank you, because it's been immensely long. And thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you in the next video, guys. Look after yourself. See you later. Bye.